Blackwood Manor. A name whispered on the wind, carried through the ages by those who dared to speak of it. A place where shadows danced and secrets slept, hidden in the corners of every room, waiting to be discovered. The manor stood on a precipice, overlooking the sinister churning waters below, as if guarding its own dark mysteries. Twisted branches clawed at the night sky, their skeletal fingers tapping against the decaying facade, echoing the manor's own decrepit state. Whispering pines they called the woods surrounding the manor, a name that sent shivers down the spines of those who heard it, an apt name, for the wind moaned through the ancient trees, carrying whispers of forgotten tragedies and lost souls. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, a constant reminder of the manor's grim history. A shiver ran down your spine as you approached the imposing iron gates, feeling the weight of countless untold stories. They creaked open as if inviting you into the jaws of a predator, a foreboding welcome to the unknown. The manor loomed large, its windows like vacant eyes, staring out at the world with a chilling indifference, as if daring anyone to uncover its secrets. Amelia clutched the old brass doorknob. It was cold and damp to the touch. Her breath formed small clouds in the crisp autumn air. An orphan, she had only known the cold impersonality of institutions. This inheritance, this crumbling manor, was her only tie to a family she never knew. Taking a deep breath, she stepped across the threshold and into the darkness. The air inside was stale and heavy, thick with the scent of dust and decay. Cobwebs hung like macabre decorations, and the only light came from the sliver of moonbeams that pierced through the grimy windows. Each footstep echoed in the oppressive silence, amplifying the growing unease in her heart. This place felt wrong. The first few days were the hardest. Amelia busied herself with unpacking and trying to bring some semblance of order to the chaotic state of the manor. But the silence was always there, pressing in on her, whispering in the shadows. She began to notice things that she couldn't quite explain. A book misplaced, a flicker of movement in the periphery, a cold spot in the middle of the room. At night, the noises began. Floorboards creaked under unseen footsteps. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. Amelia tried to rationalize it, telling herself it was just the old house settling. But deep down, a primal fear began to take root in her heart. One evening, as Amelia sat by the fireplace, a sound pierced the silence, breaking the tranquility of the night. It was a piano. A haunting melody filled with melancholy and longing resonated through the walls. The sound seemed to be coming from the old music room, sealed off for years, a place where no one had ventured in a long time. Her heart pounding in her chest, Amelia crept towards the sound, each step filled with trepidation and curiosity. The door creaked open, revealing the dusty interior, untouched by time. Moonlight streamed through the grimy windows, casting an eerie glow on the grand piano in the center of the room. But there was no one there, no figure to be seen. The music stopped as abruptly as it began, leaving only the echo of its haunting melody lingering in the air, as if the room itself was holding its breath. Amelia stood there, frozen in fear, her mind struggling to comprehend what she had just witnessed, the inexplicable event that had unfolded before her eyes. Sleep became a distant memory for Amelia. Night after night she lay awake, her mind racing with thoughts she couldn't control. Every creak, every whisper, every shadow seemed to amplify her fear. The house, once a sanctuary, now felt like a prison of unseen terrors. One night she awoke to the distinct feeling of a presence in the room. It was as if the air had thickened, pressing down on her chest. Her heart pounded in her chest as she slowly opened her eyes. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of her own rapid breathing. The room was bathed in the pale light of the moon, casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. And then she saw it. A figure. It was not a trick of the light, but something real, something sinister. Tall and gaunt, it stood at the foot of her bed, its features obscured by the darkness. It seemed to absorb the light around it, making the room feel even colder. She could feel its eyes on her, cold and malevolent. The sensation was like icy fingers trailing down her spine. Amelia squeezed her eyes shut, willing it all to be a figment of her exhausted mind. She prayed for the nightmare to end. But when she opened her eyes again, it was still there, watching, waiting. The terror was real, and it was not going away. Desperate for answers, Amelia began to research the history of Blackwood Manor. Local townsfolk spoke of the Blackwood family with a mixture of fear and reverence. They whispered of a tragic fire, of madness and death. Driven by a morbid curiosity, Amelia explored the manor's dusty attic, hoping to find some clue, some explanation for the horrors that plagued her. And then she found it. Hidden behind a pile of old furniture, a secret room. Inside, the walls were lined with bookshelves, filled with ancient tomes and journals. In the center of the room sat a writing desk, its surface covered in scattered papers and a single, leather-bound diary. The diary of Eleanor Blackwood. The diary entries painted a chilling portrait of Eleanor Blackwood, a woman tormented by visions and whispers. She wrote of a darkness that clung to Blackwood Manor, a malevolent entity that fed on the fear and despair of its inhabitants. Eleanor believed she was going mad, just like her father before her. As Amelia delved deeper into the diary, she uncovered a horrifying truth. Eleanor had been plagued by the same supernatural occurrences, the same haunting melody, the same shadowy figure. But there was something else, something darker. Eleanor wrote of a ritual, a desperate attempt to appease the entity and break the curse on Blackwood Manor, a ritual that went terribly wrong. The pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. The haunting melody, the shadowy figure, the ritual. It all pointed to one horrifying conclusion. Eleanor Blackwood had not been insane. She had been haunted, and the entity that tormented her was still trapped within the walls of Blackwood Manor. The ritual, meant to banish the entity, had instead bound it to the manor, trapping it within its walls for eternity. And it was hungry for the fear and despair that Amelia felt coursing through her veins. The haunting intensified. Objects moved with unseen hands. Whispers morphed into blood-curdling screams. The shadowy figure of Eleanor Blackwood became a constant presence, its eyes burning with a cold, malevolent light. Amelia was trapped in a waking nightmare, her sanity slowly unraveling with each passing moment. The walls of the manor seemed to close in around her, suffocating her with their darkness. The haunting melody played over and over, an endless loop of despair and madness. Fear, raw and primal, consumed Amelia, fueling the entity's power, strengthening its hold on her. Driven to the brink, Amelia knew she had to escape Blackwood Manor. She had to break the cycle of madness and death that had plagued the Blackwood family for generations. Armed with the knowledge gleaned from Eleanor's diary, she devised a desperate plan. A plan to confront the entity, to face her fears and banish it from the manor forever. The air crackled with tension as Amelia confronted the entity. She spoke the words found in Eleanor's diary, an ancient incantation meant to sever the entity's hold on the manor. The room grew cold, the shadows swirling around her like living things. The last vestiges of the entity's power seemed to lash out, the manor groaning under the strain. And then silence. The oppressive darkness lifted, replaced by an almost deafening quiet. Amelia stood there, trembling, uncertain if she had truly escaped the clutches of Blackwood Manor. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the darkness, Amelia fled Blackwood Manor. She left behind the horrors she had witnessed, the secrets she had uncovered. But some things can never truly be left behind. And in the depths of her soul, Amelia knew that a part of Blackwood Manor, a sliver of its darkness, would forever remain with her. The nightmare was over. but the fear lingered.